We're very proud to be the artistic part of that sense of innovation and sense of growth. And I don't think that anyone will be able to not think about where we are now, 50 years later, as a country and as human beings, where our region is versus other parts of the country. I walked in to see the set and she said, "I'm home!" And I said, "Oh, that's just what we wanted to hear." Exactly.
Every little moment is always no less than mighty fine.
I'm here to speak to Robert Kelley, who is the artistic director of TheatreWorks and has been since 1970. This is the 40th year of TheatreWorks, and I'm here to talk to him about the latest production, To Kill a Mockingbird. So let's go in and check it out. Hello, this is Lonnie Stark of Stark Silver Creek. We're here at TheatreWorks headquarters, and I'm here with Robert Kelley, who is the artistic director of TheatreWorks. Thank you for spending some time to talk to us about your role in TheatreWorks as well as the latest production, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Thanks, Lonnie. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I'm really thrilled.
I think it's just an honor to be here after you started TheatreWorks in 1970. It's been 40 years.
Goes back a ways.
Not only being in the theater business for this long, but also taking something from its inception and growing it over the 40 years. People have seen the results of TheatreWorks from your work, but how do you think you've evolved because of TheatreWorks as well?
Well, I've certainly learned the craft of directing over these 40 years, and it's been a real journey watching the company grow, watching our art and theater art grow over time.
Are there things you miss about sort of when it was first starting, or are there any challenges as you grow to continue to keep things fresh?
Well, the first 2 years, 2 or 3 years of TheatreWorks in the 70s, everything we produced was new. We only did original works and we wrote them ourselves here in what was sort of yet to become the Silicon Valley at that point. It was just kind of beginning, right?
Orchards, right?
Well, maybe not entirely orchards, but there were a lot of them, I have to admit. And we gradually became a much more formal subscription-based professional company over a number of years. About 10 years ago, actually 9 years ago, we decided that the original spirit of the company needed a little refreshing, and that's when we began our New Works initiative. Mm-hmm. So that a big part of each year now is spent developing new pieces with the artists and residents who are creating them, and with the hope that we'll find place that we can put on our main stage, and that's exactly what's happened over the last 9 years. So I think a lot of the kind of creative start-from-scratch energy that defined TheatreWorks in its early days has now been reproduced as a part of the larger picture of what we do every year. We're very proud to be the artistic part of that sense of innovation and sense of growth. It only makes sense that an area that's as fertile and creative and diverse as the Silicon Valley that we live in should also have arts that are creative, innovative, diverse, and at the absolute top level of professional quality.
What does it personally mean to you? And is there something you can share about how it's impacted you and what it means to you, this work, this story?
Well, To Kill a Mockingbird does mean a lot to me. I've wanted to put it on our season for many, many years. I was a fan of the book. I loved the movie. That was, of course, many, many years ago that I encountered both of them. And when we sat down to plan the 40th anniversary season of TheatreWorks, I felt it was really important that a major work that we produced addressed the issues of diversity, issues of prejudice, issues of how people relate in America and American values in a very direct and honest and straightforward way. And when you see the play, you cannot help but think about that distance from 1935 when the play is set to 1960 when it was written. And I don't think that anyone will be able to not think about where we are now, 50 years later, as a country and as human beings, where our region is versus other parts of the country. I think you walk out of the theater and the first thing on many people's minds is how much has it changed? And how much further do we have to go? And at the same time, you see a world where prejudice has put this giant wedge between factions of the community, black and white, and you see them through the eyes of a young person who didn't start life full of prejudice and is encountering it, in a very direct and straightforward way for the first time, or at least she's realizing it for the first time. And it's that tension between the innocence of youth and the reality of adulthood and adult life that makes this play work and makes it so incredibly relevant for today.
Even the story, I think, makes a great play because it's not neat. Things aren't tied up at the end and everything, and every single major sort of event in the story has so many different facets to it and complexity that I think it as a play, I think it challenges the audience to think about things in different
Absolutely.
ways.
Well, it's a play where they talk about making strides in terms of improving the situation, and by that they mean bridging the racial divide in the smallest of ways. And you tend to think as you witness what's happening in 1935, that there's an incredibly long ways that they have to go. And yet, as you witness it, you realize that the young girl you're watching grows up to be Harper Lee, and will write this book.
Yes.
Gets you. It's really something when you see that the lessons she learned from her father and from the situation in her community in the 30s have this immense return in the 60s. And I have to say, in my dream of how this play will affect our community, and especially young people in the community, will have an influence much like that on young people, the results of which may be a half century in coming, but they'll come.
I've talked to others about when it's a world premiere, the challenges there of something that's never been conceived. Here's something that's been told many times. As a director, how are you approaching this work, and what are the things you're trying to stay true to, and what are the things maybe you're trying to push a little in this
it's interesting.
Version?
In some ways, you feel a big obligation to be true to the story that so many people have read and encountered, and to the spirit of the original creative urge of its creators. On the other hand, this production needs to work now, for our audience. And there's a few things that we've done that might be seen as a little bit different. It takes place in a very realistic or seemingly realistic town, and many people have seen the movie. I mean, many people have seen the movie. They have this town wedged into their brain a certain way, and the courthouse in their brain a certain way. We've kind of created a town that is sort of fading into memory as you look at it. This is a model of the show, and if you look at closely, you can see that there's pieces of the houses that are starting to drift away and disappear, and you see through things into what, at least in my imagination, is the future. But nevertheless, it's all sort of drifting past. It's a memory. It's a memory play, and it's a time that used to be in America. We've added, every courtroom has a flag. Yes. You always have a flag. For our production, we had a flag specially made I think it's something like 11 by 18 feet or something like that. It's absolutely huge, and comes in to sort of define our courtroom in a way, but also, I think, say we're talking about the big picture. We're talking about the country, and we're talking about the values that people are learning before your eyes. Young people are learning.
So thank you for your time, and this play runs till May 2nd with plenty of matinees and evening shows for both school children as well as folks young and old. So thank you for your time, and congratulations on 40 years here.
Thank you.
And to many more.
Yeah, let's hope. Thank you very much.